I'll be reading from Luke 11:15-32. Voy a leer de Lucas 11:15-32. There was a man who had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, "Father, give me a share of the property that is coming to me."
That's funny. If I didn't know any better, I would have sworn that I just heard you ask me for your share of the inheritance.
You heard right, Dad.
Good thing I'm used to your outrageous sense of humor, son. Someone else might have taken that joke seriously and popped a blood vessel. But I know you. Always a clown, always pushing the envelope.
I'm not kidding. I want what's mine and I want it now.
You're serious?
Do I look like I'm not?
I'm stunned. I never saw this coming. I never even considered the possibility of such a thing. But children usually wait for their parents to die before they lay hold of the inheritance. And I'm no spring chicken. What's the hurry that you would so greatly dishonor your old man and break his heart like that?
So I'm impatient. Deal with it.
It's like you wish me dead already. Or how else should I take your demand?
Take it any which way you want, old man. I'm leaving and I want my part of the inheritance now, not later.
Hold on a second. You just might get your inheritance the usual way. Who's feeling like is going to be the big one? I'm coming, Rachel.
Skip the theatrics, Dad. Give me my share of the money now. You can die whenever you like, for all I care.
So, what did I do to deserve such an outrageous insult, my son?
It's not about you, Dad. You've always been okay, a little bit square and stodgy. It's about me. I gotta be myself. I gotta spread my wings and fly. There's a big, beautiful world out there and with my name all over it.
So, what would you do with your part of the inheritance?
You wouldn't want to know. You aren't gonna like it.
Does it involve anything that your mother Rachel and I and the rabbi have warned you against?
That and more than you'll ever know, or even think about in this uptight, 2-bit, 1-horseback part of a wide spot on the road where everyone is related to each other. Man, I've been aching to get out here for ages.
And I could tell. And when the time came for you to leave, I was not going to try to keep you here against your will. But I never thought it would come to something as hurtful and outrageous as demanding your inheritance while I am yet alive. I reared sons, but when they grew up, they rebelled against me.
Not my older brother, that prude. That stuck-up goody two-shoes. He never had the courage to rebel even in the slightest. But those words you just said sound familiar. You're not quoting the Bible, are you?
Of course. The opening words of the prophet Isaiah.
Should have known. Everything comes down to the Bible for you, doesn't it, Dad?
It's what makes me the okay father you said I am.
Yeah, but I also said square and stodgy. Whatever. The only book I care about is our farm's account book. Break it out and figure out my share of the inheritance. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. Or do you just want to take what I figure I got coming to me?
When Israel was a child, I loved him. And out of Egypt I called my son. But the more they were called, the more they went away from me.
More of the Bible, I take it?
From the prophet Hosea. To them I was like a child who lifts, I was like one who lifts a little child to the cheek. And I bent down to feed them. How can I give you up, O Ephraim? How can I hand you over, O Israel?
Well, it's what I'm asking of you, Dad. No, it's more like what I'm demanding of you. I'm leaving, whether you like it or not. So give me my share of the inheritance, unless you just want me to take what I figure is mine. Otherwise, I just might go off and starve to death.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. You get your inheritance.
Really?
Yes, as you wish. I'll sell off some of our livestock this afternoon and give you the proceeds tonight.
Now you're kidding.
No, I'm not. You'll get your inheritance before you leave tomorrow.
I wasn't expecting such a response.
Like you said, I wouldn't want you to starve to death.
But why should you even care? How am I trying to disown you? I'm demanding my share of the inheritance now while you're yet alive?
Of course you did. I get that.
Well, at the very least, I expect you to disown me back. What will the relative community think if you disown me?
If I don't, oh, that's the least of my cares right now. None of this is about them, son. You can disown me all you like, but if the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases, then why should my love ever cease?
Not the Bible again.
What I'm trying to say, son, is you can disown me all you like, but you will always be my son, wherever you go, whatever you do. Besides, if I did disown you and refuse you your share of the inheritance, that would probably only confirm for you all the reasons that you think you have to leave. Am I right?
I had them all rehearsed and ready in my mind.
Okay, let's hear them.
You're an uptight, unfeeling, overwrought, hyper-strict, religion-muddled ogre whose self-restraint, self-discipline, and self-denial are so oppressive that they oppress everyone else around you too.
Is that all?
And that's why you always disapprove of everything I've ever wanted and refuse me what's mine.
Like when?
Like when you disowned me and withheld me from my inheritance.
But I didn't. Remember?
But if you had withheld part of my inheritance as I expected, and as you're supposed to, and I half hoped you would, then I could be the martyr for a change, and that would only prove my point.
And I'm not playing your game, son. On my word, you will get your part of the inheritance tonight even, which I figure should be at least the value of 7 sheep and 2 years worth of grape and wheat harvest.
I'm stunned. That's better than I expected.
Like you said, I wouldn't want you to starve to death. But you get all that on just one condition.
I knew there'd be a catch. Okay, let me have it. What is it?
That wherever you go, I go too.
Now you're really kidding. And it's not funny, Dad.
Once again, I'm not kidding. I'm coming along with you.
Sure. Coming along to cram my style and wag your finger at me every time we start having any real fun? Great. Like that's ever gonna happen. Try and come with me, old man, I'll leave you in the dust. You'll wake up in some dusty old tavern one morning and find me gone. Long gone.
I'm not coming along to keep tabs on you. I'm not coming along to crimp your style, son. I'm going with you off into that far-off country to do anything and everything you do. Maybe I'm ready for some wine, women, and song, too.
Who are you and what have you done with my father?
So, when do we leave?
But you can't leave!
What do you mean I can't leave? Don't think that I'm incapable of any of the things that you have in mind. We're made of the same stuff, son. And don't think that I've never been tempted to do everything and anything that you might want to do.
But Dad, you've got to stay here. My brother needs you. So does the rest of the family and the whole community for that matter.
And you think that we don't need you?
What do I care about that? This is about what me and what I need.
Well, what about me?
You've never struck me as the type who needs to run off and live it up. If anything, we've always relied on you not to run off and live it up. In fact, we've always needed you not to run off and live it up.
Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
But you're old.
I'll overlook that remark. But what if I am old? Maybe it's my time finally to run off and waste what little time and substance I have left in this long old life after all those years of being here for you, for for your mother Rachel, for your brother, the village, the relative, the synagogue.
But if everyone were to act like me, then no one could.
You lost me there. Would you run that by me again, please?
Look, Dad, if I'm to run off and rebel, someone else has to stay and obey. I mean, what women could I carouse with if no one stays home to raise and protect their daughters? Or how can I drink myself silly if no one tends the vineyards? Or how can I pig out if no one goes hungry out in the fields protecting the cows and sheep from bandits and wolves?
Well, excuse me for feeling used.
Nothing personal with that.
Well, maybe I'm tired of being the one who always stays, obeys, and tends the sheep, the vineyard, the fields, the family all the time.
I admit that if anyone should be wary of being virtuous, dependable, disciplined, and responsible, it would be you. But think of all the people you'd be hurting if you suddenly dropped your part in this community like a hot stone. It'll be hard enough to fill in the gap after you die. Can't you hang on till then?
Can you?
You got me there, Dad. That was tricky. But this isn't about you. It's about me and my need to fight you. Besides, if you run off with me, who will I come home to?
So you're planning on coming home?
No, Dad. I couldn't. I wouldn't dare show my face around here again. Not with all what I wanted to do. The shame would be too great, and the community would be too hostile. They might even stone me to death for rebellion like the law says they can, and that's why I have to leave.
You lost me again. You're leaving and effectively telling me to drop dead because of what we might do to you if you leave and effectively tell me to drop dead.
I knew I shouldn't have expected you to understand.
But somewhere down deep in your heart of hearts, you're hoping that I will still be here to welcome you when you come home.
If I come home. Yeah, I suppose.
Is that what you need from me, son? That I stay here?
Not just me, Dad.
If it's what you need, son, then yes, I'll stay. I was only messing with you anyway when I offered to come along. I need to stay for my own sanity and integrity. I'll keep working the vineyards, watching the livestock, tending the fields along with your older brother, and I would do no one any favor, myself included, if I followed you off into that far country and did what you did anyway.
So you'll do the right thing, even if I don't?
Since when did you ever see me lift my finger and put it up to the wind to determine right from wrong, good from bad? If I'm willing to be the last person in the world who lives the way I do, if that's what it comes to.
Which probably means I'd better not even think about coming home. You'll never change.
Son, you had better hope that I never changed. Count on me to keep watching for you to come home and hoping and praying for your safety and your return. Because what does the Lord require of you but to do justly and to love mercy?
Ah, the Bible again. Always the Bible, Dad.
And be glad for that. Because mercy is as much a part of God's Word as is morality. And we all need plenty of both.
You wouldn't know that to hear the rabbi speak.
So he's young yet. Wait until he's had some children and they grow up. Or until he too is tempted, like you, to run off into some far country, so much so that he can hardly stand it and stay put. Then you will see more depth to the man. Time can do that to you. And having kids.
They make you drop everything and run off like I'm doing?
Not necessarily. They make you cry all the harder for mercy because of all the times you just want to drop everything and run off. Because, deep down, you really know different and know better than those who do drop everything and run off like you're doing now. But wherever you go, son, whatever you do, rest assured that you can always come home to me. because I have to come home to my father every day.
Grandpa's long dead. Oh, you mean coming home to God, right?
Sure.
You, who are so upright and uptight, you sometimes wander from God and have to come home too.
Listen, my daily, respectable little rebellions and desertions are finding no better in God's sight than the big, outrageous, outlandish one that you're pulling right now. And yet, God never locks the door nor blows out the light on me, so I will never lock the door on you. You can always come home whenever you like, and the lamps will still be lit.
I don't know how you can be so hard on yourself and so soft on me.
You've got it backwards, son. You're the one being hard on yourself. You're the one hurting yourself, and I'm afraid you're going to be hurting a lot worse before you come to your senses. By bearing the yoke of God's word, I'm sparing myself a world of hurt and doing what's good for me.
Don't you ever feel used by punks like me?
Aha! So now you're thinking of someone other than yourself for a change. Don't worry about me, son. As much as your absence will hurt me, it won't hurt anywhere near as bad as what you're doing to yourself. And while you're gone, I'll continue to think about you while we're celebrating the harvest or the high holy days, and I will wish for you and pray for you the same joy as what we know in those moments.
How would you even want me back when my leaving is going to set you back so much?
This time, son, it's not about you. It's about me. And after all these years of bearing the yoke of God's law, I would be untrue to myself if I kicked it off and left with you to carouse and carry on in some far country. So don't worry about me hanging around, crimping your style, or throwing cold water on your fire. I have found other joys that don't leave me hurting or heartbroken the next day.
That's a relief.
But I would be just as untrue to myself if I disowned you and joined the crowd that would want to stone you if you returned. I would also be untrue to God and myself if I had held on to a grudge against you so that I could never welcome you home. Every day that I look up from my labors to watch you along the road home, every time I pray for your safe return, I will be doing that for my sake as well as yours, in order to be true to who I am and to who God is. And when you do come back...
Bad chance, Dad.
Okay. If you come back, I will embrace you so tight that anyone who wants to stone you will have to stone me too.
Leaving you and disowning you are not turning out quite to be what I expected.
But you're still going through with it?
Yeah, I suppose.
Son, your stubbornness and hard as a heart scare me more than anything I can ever imagine you doing. I don't understand it.
What's there to understand, Dad? I gotta be myself and I gotta be free.
Grind fools in a mortar like grain with a pestle, and still you won't separate them from their folly.
The Bible again. Did Moses say that?
No, Solomon in the Proverbs. And he turned out to be even more foolish and rebellious than you, but as an old man, not a youngin' like you.
Maybe she should have done it the other way around, rebelling first and repenting later.
Is that your plan? Is there hope then of your return? Always remember, son, there's nothing shameful about changing your mind and coming back home. The shame is in refusing to learn, to admit the truth, and to change your ways. That's the path to crazy. Return to me, and I shall return to you.
Not Moses again.
It's Malachi. I know, son, that it's God whom you're finally rebelling and reacting against, not me in the end. But one day, you will hear his word calling you back home. And when you hear that word, when you hear that voice, don't fight it.
Don't hold your breath.
And because of that same word, I will be here as long as I'm alive, waiting for you to welcome you back and restore you to the family as though you had never left. And not just because of who you are, my son, but because of who I am and who God is. You can take that to the bank, son. That offer is as good as my life, for as long as I live. I swear by all that is most high and holy.
You sound like God.
And just where do you think I learned that? Not that I would claim to be God, of course, but thank you. Any resemblance between us is intentional.
Bye then. See you tonight for my inheritance.
Bye, son. I love you.
Whatever.
The end.